with project number 1, Preventing Collusion, from Lewis, Keenan, Andrew, and David. If you guys want to come up here, that would be wonderful. And you can set the stage and kick us off.
So we're a group that came together because we are interested in trying to find the greatest impact in terms of governance outcomes from the least effort in application of existing or new technologies. So like how can we make some marginal gain in a technology have the greatest impact out in the world with regards to governance, particularly governance of AI. So we first did like a quick little inventory of some tools and projects that we think are likely to be valuable and close to being able to demonstrate such impacts, including Talk to the City, a project that Colleen's working on at the AI Objectives Institute, and the Public Editor project, which labels misinformation, and then also some sketchily sketched deliberation tools and ideas. And we can say a little bit about each one of those, but I'll finish like with the overall arc of our meeting. We decided that looking at those tools, we needed to figure out actually where would we point these? Because it's not just a question of what tools might have impact in the world demonstrating their governance capacity or their capacity to improve governance in the abstract, but actually we need like relevant use cases. So we considered many, the healthcare system, universities, what else did we consider? Like school boards and a few different ones, but we finally realized like Wikipedia might be a great place to start with some tools that can improve the quality of the discourse on Wikipedia, and also give them some tools for deliberating about how they will manage going forward in the age of AI. I think, is that a decent intro? And
yeah, I think so.
Hand it off,
yeah, Wikipedia is a collective governance of all parts of Wikipedia, including policies, which are just Wikipedia pages describing what the policies for using and editing Wikipedia are. And we expect that these will have to start taking into account AI-generated content. And so coming up with policies like for that will be a deliberative process that maybe could benefit from some of these tools.
Right, so then the thing that I want potentially from people here is we spent a lot of time looking for places where someone is being forced to make decisions around AI, like for example, universities are forced to make decisions about what their policies are for AI, or some people are like considering being customers of AI companies, and so they need to make decisions about this. And so among those, which of them are bottlenecked on collaboration and, deliberation or decision making, or with the Talk to the City, understanding what the landscape of opinions is, and among those, which ones could benefit most from tools, like especially the existing tools that we have. So if you have thoughts on that, I'm interested in hearing it.
So this included like, with getting insights from Dakai, for instance, about universities, and Mark from the National Academies, and just doing some sort of power analysis of a few different communities that were plausible user communities, and realizing that some are very entrenched in their own political camps and will not want. And Jamie, I know you've dealt with this, like you can build great tools and sometimes people do not want the tools because they are so great. So after a fair amount of consideration, we do think the Wikipedia group is going to be amenable to this because they've been attempting collective intelligence and succeeding at it for so long.
I think that's all I have.
Do you want to say a little bit about Talk to the City? Or should I say something about
I guess I could go for it. Say something about Public Editor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess you gave a presentation on Talk to the City. Okay, so I think one thing that we found in the discussion was that it seems plausible that communities that are trying to make decisions are going to be very interested in organizing their discourse in the run-up to those decisions, and that Talk to City has a great facility and capacity for kind of representing a discourse across many different points of view, but that there's also a need with a tool like Public Editor to check into the quality of the discourse. How is the reasoning constructed by the different agents from those different points of view, whether those are the human agents or the AI agents trying to represent the humans. So what Public Editor does is it's a collective intelligence process that can then feed into machine learning to create an AI process that will label specific words and phrases across content, pointing out over 50 different reasoning errors, argumentative fallacies, inferential mistakes, rhetorical manipulations. So people will see a sentence and then they'll see a label over that sentence that says, this is posing a false dilemma, or this is ignoring selection effects, or confusing correlation or causation. So we're imagining some tools for the discourse that will kind of show the ground of discourse and improve the quality of the information that's coming through to the person who's surveying the ground of the discourse and finding the common ground. And then that will then feed into some deliberation processes that ultimately lead to better group decisions.
Any last things said?
I guess one more plug for a different direction that was also interesting. We're talking about ways of collecting, synthesizing, analyzing large volumes of opinions for people who have to make some sort of decision, because we think that those people are working at a small enough scale that they can make decisions quickly, and that can be like a test bed for how AI governance could happen. We also had this idea of, well, the White House and the National Telecom and Information Administration just put out requests for comments on AI policy in general. Like, what if we just piped those in to talk to the city and see what happened?
Yeah, there's like 1,500 comments on the probably less popular one from a month ago, and then the probably more popular one from the White House. I haven't checked how many comments went in.
Yeah.
But
May not affect decision making at all, but it would look cool.
it'd be pretty fascinating to see what it's like, yeah.
It would also be cool to structure that stuff into like society library
Yeah.
graphs as well. So lots of different plausible moves here.
Thank you guys. Questions, comments, helpful notes?
Yeah.
Question, are we at the point where a politician could use AI to choose their entire platform for them?
I'll just repeat the question. Are we at the point where a politician could use AI to determine their entire platform?
I don't think it would be a good idea.
Like, could they use your tool?
Oh, no. Talk to the city does not output a specific like report of everything that's going on that would be usable in that way.
I know there's at least one project that has an AI politician that tries to develop a platform and even interact with people in like a Discord or something like this. I forget which EU country is pioneering this AI politician. Yeah, no comment. No further comment.
I think we could easily train up an LLM off of the database.
So one thing we're doing at Goodly Labs now is kind of a marketing stunt. Is we've taken an LLM and we've given it a face and a voice and a charming, hilarious personality, and it's a bullshit genie. So you can check it out on Instagram if you go to Bullshit Genie, and you can ask it questions, and it will give you answers with delightful bullshit. And then the next step is to uncover the bullshit and point out how it commits these different reasoning errors. And then when people want to know more, they can click a button and they can become a nerd with Public Editor. Yeah. Jamie, did you have a question?
Oh, I was going to say, yes, this information can go in the Society Library. I was only saying that because no one was raising their hand.
Yeah. Anyone else? Or
Yeah, I have a question. In terms of like all the questions that were on the doc, like if this were to become a project, like what would any next steps be? You know, like any kind of like proto version of this thing?
I think we're hoping to talk to each other after this and have a clearer answer for that. But
Although you took step number one, which
Oh, yeah,
was
that's
talking
right.
to Wikipedia.
yeah, he told a man that he's going to help us.
yeah, step number one, I reached out to my contact at Wikipedia and told them that I'm here at the Internet Archive, and we're ready to deeply and broadly collaborate with them now.
I think it's a great idea.
we'll
Do
see.
you know the post why the next decades might be wild? I think it was a less long post, and like it specifically talks about like new AI generated content being kind of like becoming the base gradually of the whole web, but also of Wikipedia, and like different risks for that. So I think it's a pretty pressing, and like at least like
Yeah, we have to constrain this, right? Because the bullshit can just proliferate endlessly, and then we, we're already in a place where we have this epistemic crisis, and we don't know what's true. It's going to get much worse unless we figure out some social epistemology engine that allows us to wrap our heads around it and know what's plausibly real.
Just, I mean, beyond that step, sorry, So concretely is to actually train our AIs on this data so that it can scale to the generation, the exponential scale of the generation of bullshit out there.
And what kind of help do you want from people in this room? I think you already pointed out one thing, to just make it crystal clear.
Like just other promising use cases or places where someone's bottlenecked on decision making or deliberation rather.
Yeah, other use cases to explore would be great. There's many different surfaces to projects like these. These, you know, when you're talking about like broad social epistemological tooling for groups of potentially very large size, you're talking about an ecosystem of products touching multiple different surfaces of society. So there's lots of engineering and design work to be done. A lot of these things are already, you know, at prototype mode or even like early MVP production mode, but there's a lot more to build. So people who like to build and people who like to fund people who like to build.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much, guys.